And so what I want to say to Justin Bieber and to everybody that's following the situation is that Justin Bieber is a victim. I was horrified when I saw this, not because of the idea that Justin Bieber would be engaged in these sorts of things at these parties, but because I understood that this was a kid who was intentionally targeted.
And so what I want to say to Justin Bieber and to everybody that's following the situation is that Justin Bieber is a victim. I was horrified when I saw this, not because of the idea that Justin Bieber would be engaged in these sorts of things at these parties, but because I understood that this was a kid who was intentionally targeted by fresh news as ripping through the headlines, and this time it hits with the force of a wrecking ball. Sean Diddy Combs, already buried under a mountain of accusations, is officially locked down in a Brooklyn detention center after a federal judge flatly denied his $50 million bail proposal. The same mogul who once flashed wealth like armor now sits in a crumbling cell once occupied by R. Kelly and Sam Bankman-Fried. And as he waits for a trial that could stretch into years, Candace Owens has ripped open another wound in his carefully curated empire. She points the spotlight directly at his long, unsettling ties to Justin Bieber, saying out loud what many insiders whispered for over a decade. This wasn't mentorship, it was manipulation. So, this is getting very interesting. And what has come on the heels of this is people unearthing videos of Justin Bieber at Diddy parties. Now, Justin Bieber was obviously extremely young when he entered the industry, extremely innocent when he entered the industry, an industry that he did not quite understand. As a boy who just knew how to sing and play the guitar, and just did both of those things on you. The timing is almost cinematic as prosecutors describe Diddy as a man who turned his entire business into a criminal pipeline. Owens introduces the resurfaced footage that makes stomachs twist. We see a teenage Bieber, just 15, barely out of childhood, standing beside a grinning Diddy who promises him the keys to a silver Lamborghini. Cameras catch the exchange, but what they don't show is more chilling. The so-called 48 hours spent with the mogul behind closed doors. Why was a billionaire in his late 30s so intent on controlling the schedule of a boy who hadn't even reached driving age? Why, said Bieber gushed in that old YouTube vlog about his mysterious weekend only to fall completely silent about it now. Owens is telling us what the images have suggested for years. This wasn't about music. It was about power. And what I sense from those public emotional breakdowns, and only public obviously, because the press was following him, was that he was coming to terms with the fact that he had been engaged in darkness unwillingly. And Justin Bieber probably has a lot of shame about that. He probably feels shame first and foremost as a man, and that silence has become the loudest clue of all. Insiders close to Bieber insist he won't touch the topic. Not in interviews, not even in friendly chatter. One source told a magazine, Justin doesn't really want to talk publicly about his relationship with Diddy, but he may have to. That hesitation has sparked speculation of something darker. Was the young star forced into signing an NDA that chained his voice? In an industry where secrecy is currency, the idea doesn't feel far-fetched. If Diddy really did build an empire on intimidation and leverage, as prosecutors claim, then keeping Bieber muzzled would have been a critical piece of his armor. We can almost feel the weight of documents locked in filing cabinets, agreements written to bury a past too dangerous to name. Rumors now swirl with new urgency. They call it the Lamborghini trap. The car wasn't a gift. It was bait. A flashy symbol of indulgence dangled in front of a teenager who idolized the glamorous world of rap and R&B. For Bieber, stepping into that Lamborghini was stepping into Diddy's orbit. And from there, the rules were rewritten. The speculation grows darker with each retelling. The car wasn't a perk. It was a leash binding Bieber to obligations that couldn't be explained to parents or fans. And when that leash tightened, perhaps a silent NDA sealed it shut, ensuring the young singer's experiences would never make headlines until someone else like Owens dared to connect that. Government essentially said that Sean Combs led a criminal enterprise for his desires, that he tried to cover up crimes, that he was the leader of this criminal enterprise, and that he committed at least two that they believe of these elements that are part of the racketeering conspiracy. It's the combination of hard facts and forbidden whispers that makes this moment so explosive. On one side, we have a federal indictment, spelling out years of coercion, intimidation, and elaborate freak-off gatherings that sound more like organized crimes than private parties. On the other, we have old footage of Bieber smiling awkwardly beside the man now described in court as a predator. The contrast is jarring. Owens isn't fabricating a story. She's stitching together the footage, the silence, and the mounting charges into a picture the industry hoped would never be painted. And what emerges looks less like a mentorship gone sour and more like a pipeline of exploitation where young stars were groomed with gifts, silenced with papers, and paraded as trophies in a system too big to question. This is the flight where Diddy said to her testify. He showed her a video of a freak-off that she participated in and said, "If you don't participate in another freak-off when we get to New York, I'm going to put this video out. I'm going to send it to your mother." And that's coercion. She testified that the jury, they believed her. Yeah, that's coercion. The question becomes unavoidable. If Bieber was caught in this web, how many others were too? The mentorship of Usher at 14. The wild camps that stars now recoil from the rumors of hidden cameras scattered through Diddy's mansions. These threads pull tighter each day. Federal prosecutors already accuse Diddy of using blackmail, videos, and violent intimidation to protect his empire. If such footage exists, could Bieber be among the names caught in those reels? We can't know. But Owens' insistence forces us to stare at the possibility. Each resurfaced clip feels like a breadcrumb. Each refusal to speak like an alarm bell. Right now is going through a number of different reasons. Again, very quick reporting indicates that the judge is citing to the defense attorney's own statements during the case that Sean Combs is a violent person, has had violent personal relationships. But of course, the defense said that doesn't mean he's guilty of racketeering. It looks like the judge is now using those statements to say he should be. And so here we are, Diddy behind bars, his bail denied because judges believe no amount of money or monitoring can protect the community from his reach. Bieber, 30 years old now, publicly distant, but still shadowed by the images of his teenage self wrapped into Diddy's world. And Owens standing at the center of the storm, saying plainly what once seemed unthinkable, that this was predatory control woven not just into one relationship, but into the fabric of the music industry itself. The door she's cracked open doesn't reveal just Diddy's misdeeds. It hints at an entire machine powered by fame, money, and silence. Feeding on youth, while the cameras rolled and executives looked away. Behind the glamour of sold-out tours and platinum records, the industry is shaking. Sources close to the major labels describe boardrooms where executives whisper in corners, glancing nervously at their phones as new headlines hit. The arrest of Sean Combs already pulled the curtain back. But the mention of Justin Bieber has turned panic into full-blown crisis management. According to insiders, at least 5 top executives have been quietly advised to start preparing exit strategies.
Why?
Because if Bieber decides to talk, his testimony could trigger a domino effect, unleashing lawsuits that reach beyond one man and into the financial heart of the music business. We picture a countdown clock ticking, each second echoing through glass towers and luxury offices, waiting for the moment when silence cracked. They, once worked together a long time ago. They're not friends now. They don't like each other. And yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially when Diddy has been down. This fear is not baseless. Court documents already reveal how Combs used his companies as the infrastructure for a lifestyle built on intimidation and coercion. Investigators seized computers, hard drives, even more than 1,000 bottles of lubricant during the March raids of his LA and Miami homes. Prosecutors say those properties weren't just mansions, they were headquarters. If Bieber's name is tied to any of the recordings rumored to exist, whether by appearance or proximity, it could prove catastrophic for anyone who looked away while cashing checks. We can almost see the scenarios playing out. Lawyers drafting contingency statements. Shareholders pressing for answers. Board directors asking, what happens if Justin talks? The answer, according to one industry veteran, is simple. Careers implode overnight. Is he this gangster that behind the scenes that is that him, or is that? Shout out to Wendy Williams. And then there's the human toll, the part Owens forces us to confront. Bieber has spoken openly in his own documentary about years of self-destruction. He admitted starting with smoke at 13 before sliding into a haze of pills, lean, and powders. He described days beginning with chemicals and nights ending with bodyguards checking his pulse to make sure he was still breathing. At the time, the world dismissed it as the antics of a spoiled star who couldn't handle fame. But what if it wasn't about fame at all? What if those addictions were the only numbing agent strong enough to quiet the memories of what he endured?